After a brief blip of improvement shown by the writer of this episode in the previous series, I'm surprised that this episode was written by him. I know everybody's going to have works in their arsenal that are more disappointing than others, but goddamn, I just think all the writers I place my faith into that work for this show have a good episode or two, then go and release something shit. Same thing happened with Jamie Matheson last series, although he kinda redeemed it with Oxygen, I suppose, but we must never forget the travesty that was the girl who died. A similar sort of thing happened this year with Toby Whithouse and his episode titled Lie of the Land, because I seriously had my hopes up for this one given how cool the underwater base episodes were last series. Having said that, let's just have a look at what else he's... Oh no. I don't think he is entirely to blame, however. Don't forget this is the conclusive episode of the Monk trilogy, which has been steadily declining in quality, only to land us with the worst story of the trio. But what sucked about it, I hear you ask? Well, you're about to find out, as we jump headfirst into the truth of the sea. The opening sequence is just the biggest pile of cringe I've ever seen. It sets up the lie of the episode, but the photoshops of the monks in pictures of famous historical events are just so bad. Forrest Gump did this over 20 years ago with actual footage, and it looked brilliant. Granted, that movie alone had 5 times the amount of budget one series of Doctor Who gets, but they are just too funny to ignore. You could add a laughing track underneath the whole thing to play whenever a monk appears in shot, and it would be so much better.
Who can forget the time the monks defeated the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Weeping Angels?
Well, this show is notorious for the general public forgetting massive disasters like those, but I'm sure they'll know exactly what you're talking about. Anyway, so the monks have taken over as a result of Bill getting the Doctor's sight back, which again seems to have happened in a flash since the end of the last episode instead of any explanation as to how exactly the commies took over. The clip ends and a mother is taken out of her house for trying to denounce the new history. The dramatic effect of this woman being taken away from her family is completely ruined, however, when Bill walks away and the flashing images of the monks start popping up, followed by images of the monk statues all over the world. Is this not just a bit overkill? I mean, fine, the statues show the control the monks have, but the raid was enough to show their intolerance towards differing opinions. Bill starts hallucinating her mother, and we learn that 6 months have gone by since the monks have first appeared. I personally would have given up by now if I'd been watching and waiting for that long, especially given how long it's taken for Nardi to get his arse in gear and help sort the situation out. I understand the timelines and events are meant to be obscured and revealed later, but Jesus, how is anybody supposed to take an interest in the episode if they have no idea what's going on? The only thing I do know is that the Doctor's on a ship that Bill and Nardole are going to travel to without any resistance whatsoever. All that grandiose talk of the monks being so powerful, and yet they couldn't keep a hold of Bill for 6 months. You know, the one person that might want to rescue the Doctor. When they board the Hulk, Bill and Nardole pretend they're assisting the moving of goods to the boat. Now, it is at this point where another lie begins to be told. There's a long and dramatic build-up from here until the Doctor regenerates, which is all based on deception also. I like it, but it feels super anticlimactic given that all the Doctor really wanted was just to get the team back together. Anyway, back on the boat, Bill and Nardole move some crates, and they're interrupted doing a fake spot check by a monk who comes in, sniffs around a bit, and then leaves. It added to the tension of being found out initially, but just makes no sense, given that Bill, the person you'd think the monks would want to keep an eye on most, is standing right in fucking front of him. Bill and Nardole then catch up with the Doctor, who starts spouting about how empirical rule might not be such a bad idea after all. To be fair, I was pretty convinced at this point in the episode that he really had gone over to the dark side thanks to Capaldi's performance. He even goes as far as to blame Bill for the whole thing, and fair play, it's a valid criticism of her decision making. Then it's Bill's turn to have a monologue, and it's a bit too London street speak for my liking, but then she pulls a gun on him. This part is where any positive redeemer gets thrown out of the window because it strikes me as fairly odd that she would do this. Granted, there couldn't be a worse time for the Doctor to reveal this, given how far Bill has come to get here, but still it just seems so bizarre. What's worse is that after the Doctor prematurely regenerates, he praises her for shooting him, like he would have done it himself. The regeneration is total bullshit as well because he didn't need to. It's another one of those stupid things the show puts in there just so they can put a clip in the trailer to get everyone excited that he will regenerate this series. even though he didn't. The regeneration not only doesn't make any sense, given that he's not dying, but Bill isn't exactly going to know what he's doing either. After that, the Doctor tries to explain how the monks have power over the world.
The monks are using some kind of, something to control the population.
Well, no, it's not just some random something, is it? It's just plain old ordinary fear. People getting pulled off the streets, advertising the Emperor's lightning hands. The people are cheering because they think they're better. It's how the Nazis did it. It's how the communists did it. You're just a fucking idiot, Doctor. From there, it just becomes another banter-filled please stop taking me seriously moment that makes me as angry as Bill is at this point. Don't think she gets off the hook so easily either, though. Why didn't she question the Doctor about his regeneration? All of that segment is just thrown aside like it was nothing. Oh, we had it planned all along. Lovely Deus Ex Machina, Mr. Whithouse. Seems like you pulled that right out of your ass. Just to top this all off, the Doctor laughs maniacally at the prospect of ramming a ship into a dock with the possibility of hurting or injuring somebody. Where has this violent spasm in the Doctor's behaviour come from? Jesus, and to think we're only halfway through the episode. Great.
The monks are waiting for us. Of course.
Well, you guys did pick possibly the most predictable place to return to, so yeah, of course indeed. I love how the all-powerful monks infiltrated the university so quickly upon hearing that the Doctor had escaped, and yet nobody was down in the basement to guard the entrance to the vault from him. Here we see the Doctor finally opening the vault itself. For me, this would have been the best place in the series to reveal who actually was inside. The inside of the room confused me also. There are windows in here. I thought this was supposed to be a vault. It's more like a vault with windows leading to a vault, but also like another room inside the university that just has Missy stuck in there posing on the piano for all the blokes to enjoy. I mean, I certainly enjoy her. She's being her usual self, bored as ever and thoroughly entertaining. Just a shame she's just stuck in there until, well, I'm sure we'll get there eventually, won't we? Anyway, we figure out that Bill must die in order for the monks to go away. Turns out as well that my wish for a pyramid to land in a popular city also came true during the 6-month gap. Shame it has no utility whatsoever, and I would be fascinated to know what exactly got squashed for the pyramid to land there. Wait. Actually, hang on, let me just pull up Google Maps. Right, so all this area here would be completely flattened. Let's have a look what we'd miss. Oh no! Not Argos! Alright, so for the last part of the story, we need to understand that this magical broadcast is actually causing people to live the lie the monks proclaim. For some reason, a set of headphones with Bill talking seems to cure this, but when did she record this? Through some more boring corridors and a pointless shootout later, Alan predictably pulls a gun on the Doctor. You'd think one of the other soldiers would just shoot him first, knowing either that his tape was bust or that he was pointing a gun at their leader, but no. Nardole saves the day with another budget saver, the Star Trek neck pinch. He just keeps talking, it's so annoying. There is so little suspense during these sections that I'm surprised I didn't just fall asleep when I first watched this. Oh wait, I actually did. The Doctor then puts his hands on a monk in order to stop the propaganda being spread, only to fail and awaken tied up? What would Bill have used to tie him up? Those walls are pretty thick as well. It just looks like he's got his hands behind his back. Later on, he does actually break free from, well, nothing. He did have his hands behind his back. He could have just got up the whole time. Splendid. What's worse is this exact scenario played out at the end of a previous episode titled Forest of the Dead. Doctor tries to resolve a bad thing himself heroically, only to fail and the companion die instead. Obviously this time around the companion doesn't actually die, but only because of the memory of her mum. This is just ludicrous. What on earth has her mum got anything to do with stopping people believing lies? The Doctor obviously takes credit for it all, and we have to witness Bill's mum sitting up from her bench and holding her hand out 7 times. The nail in the coffin is that this is the last we hear about Bill's mother. Any relationship she might have had with the Doctor, scrapped. Any reason for the foster mum to exist, scrapped. Any involvement the Doctor had in Bill's life prior to their meeting, scrapped. What a fucking joke! This companion, who I had so much faith in initially because of her performance and intriguing character, is just thrown aside like an unwanted toy. There's more to cover on this in the final episodes, but I hope you all understand my outrage at this because she had so much potential to be a great companion and was ruined. The final moments of the episode reveal that once again nobody remembers anything about the oppression of the human race for the past 6 months, but thank God Bill showed everyone her dead mum though, eh?
When Nardole neck pinches Alan the Soldier, the style of it is strikingly similar to another famous sci-fi TV series called Star Trek. You may have heard of it. Famously used by character Spock. You may or may not have noticed some major similarities from this episode to the famous novel 1984 written by George Orwell. The book details a future controlled by a powerful government which always watches their population and punishing the rule breakers. Not to mention their ministry building is noted as a giant pyramid in the middle of a city. For more close-eyed Doctor Who fans, you may have recognised the electrical shop that the 12th Doctor's broadcasts are shown at. The name of the shop is Magpie's Electricals. Ring a bell? Well, it should. It was first shown as a major story event in 2006 as An Idiot's Lantern, and later as a background shop on the Starship UK in 2010's The Beast Below, as well as being the make of the monitor in the 11th Doctor's first TARDIS and the brand of amplifier for the 12th Doctor's famous electric guitar, and there are so many more. The design team of Who have stated in Doctor Who Confidential Call Me the Doctor, which aired alongside the 11th Hour, that it's a very popular inside joke for them, and they seem to cram it in almost any situation they can.
Thanks, Ace. So, did it suck? Fuck yeah, it did. Just a mess from start to finish. The confusing plot, more moral confusion as well on the part of the protagonists, the regeneration made my blood boil, and the solution, plus all the bullshit leading up to it, was anticlimactic and nonsensical to say the least. The only positive things I can think of were some of the tense moments in the episode when we were kind of not knowing what's going on, alongside the briefly entertaining moments that Gomez and Capaldi provide in their performances. I give The Lie of the Land a 2 out of 10.
Don't subscribe to the official Doctor Who YouTube channel.
No, you bastard! I was pretty convinced at this point in the episode that he really had gone over to the dark side thanks to Capaldi's performance. When they board the Hulk, Bill... Doctor, why you got all yellow stuff coming out of your arms and mouth? He just keeps... It just... In my face. No, burying my face in my hands. Jesus Christ. How did I fuck that one up?